Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for our final game of the weekend in the FOSROC Super 6. And we're at Goldenacre as Heriot Rugby take on Stirling Wolves. Well, it's a glorious late summer afternoon in the capital, and let's hope the rugby matches the conditions and lives up to the quality of play that we've already seen in the past 24 hours, because it's been a big weekend in this fourth round of matches, with the Super 6 heavyweights going toe-to-toe at Millbrae last night. And it was the Ayrshire Bulls who came out on top, ending Watsonians' long unbeaten run with a powerful display in their 24 points to 17 victory over the league leaders. And then earlier this afternoon at Megatland, we were treated to a high-scoring encounter. The Boroughmuir Bears triumphing 40 points to 28 over the Southern Knights. And our final game of the weekend then will involve the sides currently sitting 4th and 6th in the table. It's getting tight at the top. Watsonians Rugby still maintaining their lead. That's now narrowed down to 2 points, so the Ayrshire Bulls and the Boroughmuir Bears hot on their tail, and then a sizable gap down to 5th and 6th, and sadly for Stirling Wolves yet to get themselves onto the scoreboard in the FOSROC Super 6. The shot of Edinburgh Castle in the background. Now look at the teams with the home side first of all, and it's all change in the front row for them. No Chris Keane this afternoon, which sees Josh Scott come in on the loose head side of the scrum alongside old campaigner Michael Linus and Ewan McLaren. And Captain Rory Leishman has a new locking partner in the shape of Fraser Hastie, who makes his 20th Super 6 appearance this afternoon. And Jack Mann is missing as well, a huge loss for the home side. So Lewis Govenlock switches from the blindside flank to number 8. Joey Britton comes into the 6th jersey, and Ian Wilson will add experience to an otherwise youthful back row. Murdo McAndrew gets a start this week, with Jed Gelderbloom dropping to the bench, and he's alongside Bruce Houston. It was just announced today that he's been signed by Edinburgh Rugby on a partnership deal with Heriot. So congratulations to Bruce Houston. And changes in the back line with Sam Pecure, who took a knock in the loss against Watsonians last week. He's come out, and Fraser Jones is promoted from the bench. Bobby Kay taking his place. Freddie Owsley, the Edinburgh Rugby winger, in the 11 jersey, and Ross Jones, the vice captain, makes his 30th Super 6 appearance today alongside Niall Godsmark, with Dan King at fullback. For the visitors, young Scotland under 20 hooker Gregor Hiddleston is in the front row alongside Cameron McMillan and George Breeze. A timely return to action for Adam Sinclair, with James Pout out injured, and he will partner Hamish Ferguson in the Boiler House. And Callum Cruikshank comes in again on the blind side alongside workhorse Connor Gordon, the co-captain, and one of the biggest ball carriers in the competition, Benedict Grant, at number 8. An unchanged halfback pairing for the visitors, with Keir Singleton alongside Scotland under 20 fly half Ewan Cunningham. A centre pairing of Craig Robertson and Alex Tom, and on the wings Craig Jardine and Logan Jarvie. Marcus Holden, the co-captain, returns to the fullback position after a spell at inside centre. And Stirling Wolves' injury woes have been well documented, and that's resulted in them having to bring in 4 permit players this weekend, who will all feature from the bench: Ali Rogers, Robbie Deans, Andy Stirrett and Ross McKnight. So our final game of the weekend fought then between two sides desperate for points to drag themselves into the championship race after a rather inauspicious start to the season. What looked on paper as a dream start for Stirling Wolves, with 3 home games in a row and coming off the back of an excellent finish to the Sprint Series, has turned into something of a nightmare. 3 consecutive losses to Boroughmuir Bears, Southern Knights and today's opponents Heriots, who triumphed 38-17 at Bridgehoff only a fortnight ago. But Heriots have also struggled with just that 1 victory in their first 3 matches. The major caveat there, of course, their 2 losses have come against the front runners in this year's championship, Watsonians and the Ayrshire Bulls. And real clear signs that Heriots have perhaps turned a corner under the new coaching team of Stuart Edwards and Finn Gillis after finishing 6th in last year's competition. So the 2 sides coming out on the park, followed by our match officials this afternoon. David Sutherland and David Chang Leng will be assisting from the sidelines. and a referee there in the centre of the shot, Rory Campbell. And alongside me this afternoon, Colin Gregor, the former Scotland Sevens and Glasgow Warriors captain, on a double shift. He's been alongside Stuart McFarlane for the previous game. So good afternoon, Colin. Just quickly, how do you see this one panning out?
Just warmed up after the first game, so expecting a fireworks at Goldenacre this afternoon. So yeah, really interesting one to call. You kind of, I think it was Finn Gillies, the Heriot's co-coach, said that both teams like to try and play a bit of rugby, so it'll be interesting. It'll hopefully an exciting game that maybe a bit frantic at times. Also the lack of confidence for Stirling on the back of that kind of losing run, and it's going to be a big ask for them to come away from Goldenacre with a victory. But it's the beauty of sport, the beauty of the Super 6. If they have a good start, build a bit of momentum, anything's possible.
Well, new Edinburgh Rugby signing Bruce Houston gets the match underway, sends the ball long into Stirling Wolves 22 and just bang it off downfield, taken by Lewis Gowanlock in the blue headgear, playing number 8 today. Just about evades the clutches of Conor Gordon. And down that stand side they go. However, that's been turned over by Stirling Wolves.
Still in.
Carried on by Gregor Hiddleston, the green scrum cap on. Here comes Keir Singleton, sends it back to Ewan Cunningham, and sends that long into the Heriots 22, but easily taken by Dan King. Calls for the mark.
Stay in line.
A slightly frantic opening from the mark. A long kick, however, Stirling not hanging about. Back into the big man. Benedict Grant winds up, however, uses his captain Marcus Holden. I think Heriots will be expecting the carry there, and out to the forwards. Driven back in the tackle though by Heriots. Ewan McLaren, the 3 jersey on there. And then go Heriots to try and win that one. I think they've got hands on it. The referee says the turnover is good. Stirling try and win that back, but Heriots will come up with this one on their own 10-metre line.
Second hands come in.
And the referee penalising Stirling Wolves there as they realised the ball had been lost, piling into that to try and rescue it, and hands in. And a chance here for Heriots to get themselves some territory in the Stirling Wolves half.
Fantastic steal from Joey Britton. Heriot's blindside flanker there. You can hear Rory Campbell, the referee, clearly on the ball. Did wonder if he had actually won it legitimately and was going to present it back for Heriots to launch a counter-attack, but Stirling decided that it was better just to concede the penalty. It's an excellent kick from Houston. So yeah, as he said, a bit of a frantic opening, but it's Heriots who've got the first chance to launch a meaningful attack.
Staying on line 3.
Heriots have shown that they've got a strong line-out maul, perhaps a little too far out here on the 22. Line is starting today with Cammy Fenton dropping to the bench. Going and his hands on this ball at the back of the maul. And Heriots getting some go forward into the 22. That goes down.
Collapse.
And the referee says collapse.
Yeah,
so
cheers.
The home side playing an advantage here. A little chip through. Gowanlock on hand. Can't win that one.
Number 5.
The referee will go back for
Number
another
5
penalty.
collapse.
It was Adam Sinclair. He's back in the side today. You can see just to the left of your shot there, big blonde.
Number 5 collapse.
Headed lock. Certainly had some ballast to the Stirling Wolves second row today. A chance here just for Heriots to punch the ball a little bit deeper into that 22. Get them all set up again.
Yeah, and I think they actually fancied it from 20 metres out. Finn Gillies, a former hooker for Glasgow Warriors. He'll have them well drilled come line out maul time. And it was well set up there that they were starting to creep forward. And on that occasion, Stirling decided actually let's give a penalty away early rather than before too much momentum's been generated by Heriots. The flip side is that it's a great attacking position for the home team.
What are we going for? 6.
Although the referee's not happy with some of the logistics.
Heriots have given away what their plan A was, so they'll now have to come up with something slightly different. 6-man line out, then maybe just go for the double bluff, yes, and go the front. Well, it's exactly what they've done, because they've gone to Captain Leishman at the front again. Initial hit made by the Wolves, and careless at the back of the maul there. by Heriot. That ball just came squirting out. Not quite sure what happened, but Stirling Wolves getting boot to ball there and hack it into touch just about back up at the 22. So 3 quick fire line outs. Linus to throw in again. Will survive on that occasion.
6 called, stay on your mark.
Fraser Hasty.
I give you your mark. You stay there, all in line.
Okay. Set up with a lifting pod at the back and Hasty on his own in the middle. I suspect they will move. And, well, they're not going to lift Hasty. It's the captain again, Leishman, who goes up at the front.
Shirley. Yeah, number 5.
Once again playing an advantage. It's Heriot's pick and go
Number
through
5
the forwards,
early.
but again careless. Lose control of the ball.
It's on the 15. Number 5.
4th line out, a little bit closer to the try line once again. And if Stirling keep giving away penalties like this, you feel that Heriots will take advantage of it on one of these occasions.
Yes, as you said, Bruce, careless so far. Heriots with possession, just not not prizing the ball, getting themselves in good positions, doing the first part, getting that line out one, getting them all set
Yeah, that's
up.
your mark.
And then a couple of times
Get your
they've
timing
won
right.
the penalty. They've tried the grubber kick through to no avail. On that occasion, they just guddled it at the back, knocked it on, but they're in a great attacking position again. Part 1 completed to perfection.
It was better done, yes. Went to Ian Wilson at the tail of the line out on that occasion. Not the tallest of men, but he's a good line out option for the home side, and now they've got themselves moving forward, inching towards that Stirling Wolves try line.
That's once.
Stirling Wolves piling in.
Okay, 9.
You can see Adam Sinclair there on the wrong side, just trying to make a nuisance of himself. So back it comes. Out to the winger there, Fraser Jones. A late inclusion in the team after the loss of Sam Pecure. Forwards will keep it tight here. Hasty in there, helping. Linus standing off, he's got Govenlock with him on the latch. Driving forward. The Wolves hurriedly trying to reorganise their defence. Some big hits in, out it goes to Wilson this time. Man that started it with that line out take.
Red 5.
We've got Joey Britton. Passes him and out the ball out the back. The backs will have a go. And it's Godsmark who cuts back inside off his left foot. He's tackled well by Craig Robertson.
It's good, Clout. It's good. He lost the ball.
Still with Heriot. Then goes Murdo McAndrew digging for it. Had a quick look to his left, but goes to his right.
No.
McAndrew again.
Offside.
Referee playing an advantage again. Bruce Houston through the hands out to the wing there. Great footwork. This could well be the first try for Heriot. And it's Fraser Jones
He's on the ball and he's just lost it.
on the right wing, as I say, a late inclusion in the side. And with only 7 minutes on the clock, Jones goes in for the first try of the afternoon. Heriot's 5, Stirling Wolves 0.
And then you're 5 again for offside.
What a finish. Fraser Jones. You thought Stirling have actually defended well. They've matched up man for man. But look at that off the right, and then the acceleration. Enough of a fend. It's the Stirling second row, Hamish Ferguson, that's trying to come across. And when he's up against the pace there that Fraser Jones shows, he just can't get enough of a grasp, enough of a grip onto the whippet on the wing for Heriot. And it's a fantastic finish, because you did think Stirling had managed the defence well. They had conceded a penalty, so Heriot could have come back for that, but brilliant finish, Fraser Jones.
So you felt that the loss of Sam Pecure shortly before kick-off would be a real loss for Heriot Rugby. He's been a real bright spot for the home side in their opening 3 games. And Fraser Jones showing that he is worthy of his inclusion this afternoon. Great footwork, goes over for the first try of the day. And goes Bruce Houston, attempting to add the extras.
5.
You just don't expect Bruce Houston to miss.
You're at the centre of
Edinburgh signed up for. Well, that and a whole lot more, I've no doubt. The ideal start for Heriot's once they got themselves into the Stirling 22. Okay, they weren't as clinical as they would have liked to have been. It took them a couple of cracks at the line out, but they got there eventually. They got the score on the board. It'll be a test for Stirling. How is their confidence? Obviously not in good form just now, so to ship a 7-pointer in the first 7-8 minutes, it's and a little error like that. These are the things that just compound themselves when things are not going for you. It's just the disappointment. From a Heriot's point of view, it just buoys them, gives them a great position to launch another attack. You just see eyes
Came
up,
up,
he's
yeah.
thinking about what am I going to do next, who am I going to run at, where's my kick going to go. He's not caught the ball before he's thinking that though, which is disappointing for the Stirling Wolves.
Yeah. Okay, left the mark, please.
It was initially a good take by Lewis
Oh, we tried
Govenlock,
that.
standing
Hold
out
your
with the
weight,
blue
stay low,
headgear
stay
on.
straight.
Number 8 today, in the absence of Jack Mann, carried into contact, and the long kick downfield by Bruce Houston and dropped by Craig Robertson.
Catch!
Another great attacking position from the scrum this time. Took the 4 tracks from the line out. Let's see what they can do from the scrum. Away it goes from McAndrew to Houston to get the ball wide quickly. Dan King coming into the line, then out to Freddie Owsley. Great feet. Well, one winger scored. Is the other going to go in? He's dragged down about 10 metres short of that Stirling Wolves try line. Quickly recycled. Govenlock again crashing into contact. McAndrew, ball just dropped off there to the forwards. Go very, very close. Leishman gets himself out the way. The backs fancy this one again, out wide. Inside the 22. In comes Stirling Wolves and pick that one up. Seems to be some doubt as to whether he was onside or not. There's lots of questions being asked, but the referee, Rory Campbell, says play on. He has had a call from his ER, and I think it's the right call, offside.
Number 12 was
I think everyone thought that, but Rory Campbell. No, it's good teamwork from the officials. He's not entirely sure. So we just see, really good to see Heriot's just straight away going to the width, and you can see why with Freddie Owsley getting ball. Look at that, inside outside, puts the burners on. It's a good cover tackle in the end from Logan Jarvie on that right wing for Stirling. Great line here, back against the grain from Govenlock, keeps Heriot's on the front foot, and again this just the momentum to their attack.
On the line, please.
Stirling's defence, it's scrambling,
here,
but they do get back, they do repel the initial onslaught from Heriot's, but at the cost of a penalty, and we've been here before.
We have indeed. Linus finds his captain Leishman.
And 5.
So first part done, get the maul set now.
Going sideways.
Good work initially by Stirling Wolves, but now they're backpedaling towards their own try line. And away goes McAndrew. He could go in himself here. He has scored. Lovely break by the scrum half. Hard work done by the forwards from the line out. And Murdo McAndrew the man to profit as he goes over for the second try.
Great platform, well done, boys. Anything there?
Just listening to, I think it's Bruce Houston saying great platform, well done. He's absolutely spot on there. Good calmness, composure from the forwards as they're creeping towards the touchline there. McAndrew thinks, hang on, let's just have a dart myself. He's got a good decoy run there from his inside centre teammate Ross Jones.
Come in if you want.
But being the greedy little scrum half that we expect many scrum halves to be, he just thinks, nah, I fancy my chances. I'll duck the head, I'll bury towards that try line.
Most of the time,
fair play to him, good recognition that he's going to get there, as we see again. Just getting on that outside break, just a one-on-one tackle, but it's a side-on tackle for Stirling. It's difficult to get any sort of dominance there. McAndrew can ride the challenge and get over the try line.
The water break in a few minutes. Could you see if you get some tape from my ear?
You know a little bit about what was your wording? A greedy little scrum half.
I obviously wasn't one myself, but yeah, so many others were. But no, again, the forwards will be delighted that he's actually scored that. I'm sure the backs will be as well, because if he hadn't, he'd have a few questions to answer. But it's good recognition from McAndrew, back himself, get to the try line.
Houston from a difficult position out wide, but up go the flags once again. Immaculate from Bruce Houston, adds the extras. And a very healthy looking 14-0 advantage for the home side, with not quite 14 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, so let's see how Stirling recover from that. Obviously the error of the last restart gave Heriot's a great attacking position straight off the bat again, and they've exploited that. They've been in and around the Stirling 22 twice. They've come away with 2 scores. So yeah, for Ben Cairns, the Stirling coach, he'll want his team to make it a little bit harder for the home team to get points on the board.
Joey Britton with the initial carry from the restart.
Just a penalty.
Murdo McAndrew going to the air.
You agree? Yeah.
That's the same man that dropped it last time, Craig Robertson. Very brave. He goes up for that.
It's in a decent
does
position.
really
but
well
yeah,
to take
it's
this.
got slightly
Eyes
higher.
on the ball the whole way. This time
Yeah.
he's learnt from his mistake. Gets up in the air.
Land on his head.
On the 5.
It's a collision with
Well, if it flipped over, you're going to
Jones.
escalate it, but
Fraser
yeah.
Jones was it
He's okay.
the first Heriot's try scorer, and with good communication from referee and assistant referee, just saying it's just a penalty. It was a collision. He landed on his back, so there's no need to do any more than that. Oh, judged to perfection.
Cheers, let's go.
From Stirling,
On
kick
the line,
to
guys.
the corner.
On the line.
Ian Cunningham was it?
It was
Timing
indeed,
right,
yes.
please.
It's a fantastic kick there. Quite like another look at that, because Fraser Jones didn't look like he was looking
White,
particularly
still on the
at the ball as he raced through and just caught the legs of Craig Robertson, but
White on the
referee
line.
and his officials closer.
You come in 1 metre.
They've just gone with the penalty. However, it has given Stirling County a chance to get themselves back into this game. Adam Sinclair, the recipient at the back. The Stirling Wolves maul has been good. They've struggled to get themselves over the whitewash. However, their maul has been good and they're inching towards the line here. Gregor Hiddleston, the man in control of the ball with the green scrum cap on, and he plunges over the line, touches down, and he does get his side back into this one.
Whoa.
Clean take from the line out by Adam Sinclair. Worked its way to the back, and Gregor Hiddleston steering the ship forward.
Take them back.
And scores the first try of the afternoon for his side.
Okay.
Pushing and shoving between the forwards. But Stirling Wolves
Let's have a word from Disco.
have got themselves back into this one.
Exactly the response that they needed.
Just on the 5.
It's an excellent kick from Cunningham, judging it to
Yeah,
perfection.
take the water break now.
Sure, he had a deep inhale of breath as it almost was almost kept in
Yeah, that's fine.
by Heriot's. Just seeing him again. There we go, right to the corner. Yeah, it's well into touch. He knew exactly what he's doing. I'm sure he did, never in doubt. And then what Heriot's did moments ago up at the other end of the field. We saw a couple of line-out maul scores in the first game today, and then it's Hiddleston who's the beneficiary again. Good work from the entire Stirling pack. They get themselves set up, and it's just trundling forward, completely in control the entire time, and exactly the response that Stirling needed, having
Time
shipped
off,
a couple
water
of
break.
scores in the first 14 minutes.
Yeah.
As we have a
Quick water break.
I was going to say a well-earned water break. 3
Alright.
scores. I think they've just about deserved it, haven't they?
That's
Just
been a
open my ear.
fantastic opening to the
Keep falling
match.
off.
2 tries for Heriot's, Fraser Jones and
I'm not getting any
Murdo
deeper.
McAndrew.
No.
And then
Right.
Scotland
Are you able to give
under
me all the
20
time?
hooker. Gregor Hiddleston going over for
Yeah,
the
it's
first
straight
try
across, it's on.
for the visitors.
Yeah.
That's very clinical because they've not had really
Yeah, maybe
many
one more bit,
opportunities.
yeah.
It's one of the criticisms that you could throw at perhaps 2 or 3 of the teams in the bottom half
Enjoy that
of the
after.
table, that they're creating opportunities but they're not making anything of them, and the teams at the top.
They look great for the folks.
Watsoni's been a very good
Cheers, guys.
example.
You okay?
They can go through a game with very few opportunities and yet win it. They take everything that comes their way. So that's from a Stirling Wolves point of view, that's promising for them that they go over at the first opportunity.
Had that word.
Yeah, and I think both teams will be delighted with,
Okay,
with
ready,
how
Heriot?
ruthless they have been when in and around the opposition 22, opposition try line. The flip side is they'll be disappointed defensively that they've not made it harder
Time
for
on.
the opposition to score. And again, when you look at the Watsonians, the Ayrshire
That takes us
Bulls,
straight
it's a
on.
real strength of theirs that when you've got a line
Yeah, go
out
for it.
on their 5 metre line, it's by no means a gimme. Whereas so far today, it seems it's almost inevitable that the team, once they get that maul set, first of all, there's been no contest in the air, but they get them all set and they just trundle it forward. So yeah, it's just making it a little bit harder for the opposition to score, as well as being as clinical as you can be with ball in hand.
May well not see many kicks at goal today. Now, the teams know that should they get a penalty, if they can get themselves into the 22, they've got a very good chance
Cheers, let's go.
of scoring from the
There you
line out. Albeit it should be said that Heriot did take 4 attempts from the line out to get their first score, and eventually did get themselves over.
They used the mulligan on that one, I think, didn't they?
5, stay on your mark.
Heriot's line out just on the Wolves side of halfway. Michael Linus to throw in. This time he goes for Fraser Hasty in the middle. Joe Britton tries to break down the blind side, but he's manhandled to deck.
Ruck's formed.
However, you can hear the referee saying the ruck was formed as hands came in from Stirling Wolves to try and win that. So Bruce Houston will just step forward and get this side some territory.
Oh, it's
Down
tempting, but
again
still a ruck
deep
there.
in Stirling Wolves half.
Tough one there on Stirling, that I'm sure on several other occasions you'd get away with that. but on that occasion, Rory
You're on the line,
Campbell, the
Stirling.
referee, saying no, the ruck had formed. Great initial defence from Stirling. Heriot's trying a wee smart play down the front, around the blind side. Great recognition there, scrag tackle on Joey Britton from his opposite man, Callum Cruikshank, and then you see, just thinking, hang on, the ball's there, I can latch onto that, but no.
Right.
No.
Apologies for any industrial language that you may have heard there, but I think Ian Wilson not particularly happy with his lifters there. He did win the ball. I think it was probably not happy with the way he was being brought down, not sure. But either way, Heriots have the ball. This time they go out through the backs, and it was Godsmark who tried to just drop the ball off to his fullback, Dan King, running a nice line, couldn't quite find him. And the referee was playing advantage. Well, he's not happy with somebody. Let's have another look at that. A yellow card given to Stirling Wolves number 8, Benedict Grant. Murdo McAndrew picking up there. I think the penalty infringement was further back from there. In fact, just as Godsmark tried to drop that one off, it was a hand came in from Stirling Wolves that meant it didn't go to Dan King, or it could have been the Heriot's Rugby fullback underneath the posts. But you see Benedict Grant there, big number 8, superb ball carrier, going to the bin. Colin, I'm not sure if you saw what happened.
The referee just said too many penalties, so
line,
rather than giving a warning or having a word with either of the Stirling captains, he's just said, nah, enough's enough, I'm not having that. And in fairness, Stirling have conceded a lot of penalties, especially around line-out time.
No issue.
They've obviously identified it as being a threat for Heriots.
Heriots, it's like Groundhog Day, another line out inside the 22. A great hit by Stirling Wolves initially to drive them back. However,
side entry, then collapse. Never on.
Side entry, you can hear there Adam Sinclair. And then a collapse. So the penalties mounting up here for Stirling Wolves. Already have a man in the bin.
We're in.
Oh, we need to get some tempo into this game.
Stirling currently struggling to find a solution to the Heriots line out, the Heriots maul. I think they're trying to get as close to illegal as they can get away with, but so far they've not been able to pull any wool over Rory Campbell's eyes. He's called them every time they've infringed, so they're in a, as we say, Groundhog Day V5 perhaps. Yep. And again, the accuracy of the actual line out from Heriots has been excellent.
Yep, Leishman takes it again from the throw by Michael Linus, and they're well set here, driving towards the line, and over they go once again. And it is the captain that took the ball in the centre of the line out. Rudy Leishman has just kept a hold of that as the maul has driven forward. You'd normally expect to see perhaps the hooker Michael Linus or Ian Wilson going over there, but it was the recipient in the line out, Rudy Leishman, who has gone over for his side's third try.
No, it's not the morning.
It's just, again, it's the full team effort, isn't it? The way they set it up and they peel away, they've just edge it forward, and as it goes towards the touchline, they can just sort of almost slow the momentum, regather, and then Leishman just recognises, actually I can peel off this now, and he gets his big frame in a great position just to drive over the line. But the basics, the accuracy of the line out. Again, Stirling haven't been up competing. Just wonder whether they think at some point actually we're going to have to throw a different problem, a different challenge to Heriots rather than just letting them set up quite so easily. As we see, it's good work as the rest of the forwards collapse off the pitch. The captain at the back of the maul, complete control, plunges over.
Yes, the Wolves would feel that they had dealt with that and they'd taken the maul out into touch, but Leishman realised what was about to happen, broke away and went over the line, and that's a fair point, Colin, about do they do something different. I mean, most teams, I think it will just be standard fare to not go up quite so close to your own try line and try and get the first hit on at them all. But if you're going to be constantly beaten there, well then you've got to look at a plan B, and that is perhaps to go up and at least put some pressure on the first part of the equation and put pressure on the hooker and the catch.
Yeah, and the stage before that is to stop getting away the silly penalties that put you into that position. But yes, once you find yourselves in that situation, how do you just paint a different picture to Heriot? So they think maybe they've thought, right, we'll give them the first couple easy, so then Michael Linus, the hooker, he's not hitting the top of the jump, he's, the accuracy of the actual line out just drops a bit because they think Stirling won't compete, and that's when Stirling go up, spring a surprise and try and win a turnover at source.
Another surprise, Bruce Houston missed the conversion, so it remains 19 points to 5 for the home side, but a good first quarter for Heriot Rugby.
Use 9.
Stirling Wolves with that try through Gregor Hiddleston, giving them hope, but they really do need to stay in touch now, as that ball is sent downfield by Murdo McAndrew. Taken cleanly
Back 10, stand
by
back.
the Wolves. It's not the best return kick, however it might work out. No, it's gone into touch.
So straight
Tried
out,
to win it back, and go straight into touch means that we will go back the line. It will be in line with where it was kicked.
No.
So yet another Heriot's line out
On the line, please,
on that
Stirling.
stand side of the pitch.
You're on the line. If you're still on your feet, then yeah.
Michael Linus has been immaculate with his throwing so
need to see
far.
that
He has
ball
so
come
many
up.
targets in there. Fraser Hastie,
Not
Rory
far from
Lushman, Lewis Govan, Ian
Stirling,
Wilson,
on the line.
Joey Britton.
On the line,
Can
please.
mix up their options here, but they're going for a 5-man, it would appear.
He's getting
No,
plenty
six.
of practice as well.
Just bring him.
Yes.
Bring him in, yeah.
Lots of lineouts in this game. That I think it was maybe Murdo McAndrew saying that there was no tempo, no flow to the game. It has
Some
been
more.
very stop-starty.
I went for that 6+1 and just set the dummy drive and played it away
Oh, it's
to the
forward.
backs. Joey Britton acting as scrum half. But the backs not managing the good work of the forwards as they threw a forward pass, which has handed the ball back to Stirling Wolves.
Yeah, I applaud the ambition here, but everything's just
Okay,
done
here's your mark,
away
guys.
from the Stirling defence. They've not actually engaged any Stirling
come
defenders,
on.
so it means that Stirling can just continue to drift out. They can just apply pressure to Heriots, and because
them, yeah.
no
Yeah,
one's
choice.
engaged, there's no one out of the defensive line for Sterling.
first
When
couple was
Heriots
good.
try and
Let's maintain
force it
standard,
back on
please.
the inside, it's just the timing's not quite right. It's a forward pass. It's an easy coughing up of possession from the Heriots backs. But the flip side is you like to see them trying things. You want to see them putting some moves together, trying to break down the Stirling defence rather than it just being rumbling up the jumper or just physical dominance. Yeah, try and break it down with a bit of subtlety.
Good work on the loose head side of the scrum for Heriot Rugby there. Josh Scott in for Chris Keane this week. And away they go. Tackle just short of the 22 was Michael Linus. Quickly recycled, but it couldn't be taken cleanly by Bruce Houston. And
Advantage.
Freddie Owsley with him, and that ball has been knocked on.
mate.
Another good attacking position there. Came from the scrum, this time from Heriots.
What's that?
Another look at it here, Linus making the initial break.
Yeah, like he was panicking that he was in such clean space. Just the frustration, just the accuracy of the pass following up from
Take a while.
Murdo McAndrew, probably under a wee bit more pressure than he maybe initially thought.
Both sides
And then
holding your weight,
Bruce
please.
Houston
Keep the bind up.
just couldn't
you
quite
go.
gather the bouncing ball, which would just frustrate Heriots given the pressure they put on at scrum time. They get themselves in a good position. They don't capitalise on that. The flip side is they are back at scrum time, and they were big aggression in that last scrum, so they'll be looking to do similar.
May well have worked as well, because Logan Jarvie was up on Freddie Owsley. There was nobody in behind there. If Houston had got that kick through, you would have fancied Freddie Owsley to get himself over the try line. And close before, but away comes Stirling Wolves, carry the ball out of their 22, still missing their number 8, Benedict Grant. You see that little yellow card above Stirling on the scoreboard there. Should be back shortly, but
Take
it's
him back into half.
the vice-captain Ross Jones kicks that ball out on the full. So again, we'll come back. Ross Jones' 30th Super 6 appearance,
Yeah, relax.
which I think was Finn Gillis said doesn't sound that impressive until you say that they're actually, Heriots have only played 31 Super 6 games. So really, it's amazing consistency by the Welshman.
It's
I
brilliant.
couldn't see it from my
isn't
side.
Yeah.
And, I didn't have anything, so
30 out of 31 games is not a bad stint over the
it's not nice
last
lands on this, is it?
however many years the Super 6 has been going on.
They got the ball out before there was a clear infringement,
So
so
it's just again, it's the errors, though, isn't
Yeah,
it?
they got the
Just
ball
no
out, so
flow
as soon
to
as they
the
do that,
game.
it's
You
what
think
it's gonna
actually the loose ball for Heriots is a chance to counter attack, then Jones thinks, we'll apply pressure. We've been successful at line out. We'll look at building pressure that way, but just overcooks his kick.
And the throw overcooked there, but it does work for
ripped in the tackle.
Stirling Wolves. It was Ewan Cunningham come flying out the back line to tidy that one up. I think Adam Sinclair was the target in the line out.
So it's ripped in the tackle.
Sailed
You guys got
over
the back.
his head. Which takes a bit of doing because he's a big old unit. You can see him just in the centre of the shot there with his hands on his hips with the 5 jersey on his back.
Stay low and staying straight the whole way through.
With his ankle, which makes him very, very old. But he'll be,
I'm going to stand on
30
this
years old now, a real stalwart of the club. Spent some time down at Heriot and
played
played his club rugby down there, but back up at Stirling Wolves now, and they will be glad to see him back.
Still been a stop-start game that we've not really got into any sort of phase attack, which you can tell teams desperate to try and impose themselves on the opposition, but just almost over forcing it, just too eager, too keen. Just need to calm down, kind of build them, not ease their way into the game, but get themselves into the game. Just concentrate on the basics, get through some phases, build some pressure, and just look at going from there.
Crouch! Bind!
Singleton
Set!
feed the Wolves
Hold
scrum.
it! Hold it one.
Benedict Grant you can still see standing on the sidelines in the background there. So a depowered Stirling Wolves scrum just starting to inch backwards. They got it away in time. And now they have a dart through Cunningham. Breaks the first tackle, dragged down by Wilson. Centre field options both ways and dinked through there by Craig Robertson off his left foot. And he finds a touch deep in the Heriot's 22.
Yeah, bring him on. Yellow card coming back.
Stirling have managed the period with a down to 14 men relatively well. Good attack there. It's good to see a half break from Cunningham. And then next phase, Robertson just thinking we'll try and apply pressure just by turning Heriot's. Always wonder whether you're in and around the opposition 22, are you as well keeping ball in hand, trying to go through a few more phases. But if Stirling turn over Heriot's at this line out, they'll say decision vindicated.
Off the top there and quickly out to Govan-Lock. Sets Heriot's up a position
Hold free, hold.
which allows Bruce Houston just a little bit more space to clear into. Doesn't go for touch there. I think deliberately Logan Jarvie takes that one and sends it across towards the stand side. And see Benedict Grant back on there. I think he might be like a raging bull and just have a bit of a go himself there, but he just shoveled the ball on as they try to go from side to side. However, that ball back in Heriot's possession.
Thank you.
Just banged off downfield, taken by Holden at the back. There's a little look up. Thought about running there, but saw there was some space in behind. Tries to get it over the shoulder of Freddie Owsley. Can't quite do so in the Edinburgh winger. Well, it's not brilliant, but managed to take it. I think almost surprised himself the way that came off his boot, but darts away and dragged down by Hiddleston, who had to make that tackle or Owsley was gone. And the ball's been knocked on the ground. So a good break initially by Owsley. Tackled by Hiddleston just short of halfway. And again, Stirling Wolves will have an attacking scrum just on the Heriot side of halfway. And the referee must be feeling the heat as he's called for another water break.
I didn't realise they were 2.5, but having said they deserved the first one, I'm not so sure given how stop-start the game has been in the last 15 minutes whether they have much need for another one. It's good ambition there from Owsley, just try and get a bit of tempo, try and fragment the defence, play off that kind of counter-attack almost there, but as you can see just in the process of being tackled there, he just loses control of the ball. Just almost the theme of the game so far, just not really treasuring possession, just coughing up basic errors, both teams I would say.
And you feel if they could go through more phases that the defences would struggle. You don't need to go through an awful lot more phases before you've caused problems in the defence.
Yeah, and we saw that with Heriot's first try through Jones on the right wing. When they went through a few phases, that was all it took. But I think that's almost been the only time that we've seen either team do it. So yeah, I think whilst you want teams to be ambitious and try things, the players have got to take that responsibility and think, hang on, it's not working just now, so let's just take a little bit of the risk out of the game. Let's just lower the number of low percentage decisions that we make. Just okay, the offload might be on, but on this occasion, let's just secure ball. Let's get numbers there and support, and let's just get some phases going and get some tempo into the game, get some momentum, get the confidence going.
Crutch! Bind! Set!
Centre field scrum, options both ways for the visitors. And now back up to their full complement of 8. And you can see the pick up there by Benedict Grant, fed Singleton. And then Marcus Holden makes ground down the right flank for the Wolves. Recycle that one quickly. Up come the Heriots. Defensive line, big hit there by Govenlock, drives his man back. And Connor Gordon, the co-captain, looking down at the second attempt by Govenlock. And Grant again, little ball out the back door to Cunningham, finds its way out to the left touchline, but once again careless by Stirling Wolves as they try to build some pressure, and just hands the ball straight back to the home side.
Yeah, you just look at the body language there, they're frustrated, none more so than George Breeze, the tight head who on that occasion coughed up ball, and he'd done the hard work, he had gathered it, but then it's just as he sets off, just the old coordination that lets him down. Because it was, again, they'd gone through a few phases, there was space out there on that wide channel for Stirling to exploit. George Breeze was looking forward to having a good charge down that left hand side, but forgot to take the ball with him.
Shown some good footwork as well, because there was a hint of an outside break. As he caught the ball, he'd gone on the outside of the defender, and he could have. I think he had 2 men outside him. He would have been passing.
Yeah.
I would have thought, and that was maybe he was maybe caught in 2 minds there as he realised he'd done it. He got himself into position. He could possibly go. He could pass it. And forgot to take the ball with him.
So unfortunately for Stirling, the attack comes to nothing. Or maybe as a prop, he just thought, actually, I'd rather just scrum it, so I'll just throw the ball away. It's back to the old school. Props didn't touch the ball, they were just there to scrummage, and that was about all. Fortunately, I think the game's evolved since then.
You can see him on this side of the Stirling scrum with the blue headgear on.
Set!
George Breeze, North Yorkshire, but played Scotland under 20s in 2020 and 2021 in the Six Nations. A very good player. That ball looked very forward. It was indeed.
I'm right there. I'm right there.
Referee Rory Campbell were questioning whether that was forward, but he was saying he was right in the spot, and to be fair, it certainly looked forward. To me, I think it was Niall Godsmark just going across the front of your screen there with 13 jersey on was gone if the pass had been.
All right, lads, let's go. Come on.
Yeah,
we'll spend an all day setting up.
It's frustrating again that it's such fine margins, but from a Heriot's point of view, the way well, I suppose you are 19 points to 5 up, so you think maybe we can take a couple more risks, but you just think to get yourselves control of this game again, is it a case actually I'm not going to throw that, I know it would lead to a line break, but it also might lead to a scrum against us. I'm just going to keep a hold of the ball, and we can go through the phases.
Solid scrum there, and again 8 to 9, Grant to Singleton, and out to the right winger Logan Jarvie. To Glasgow Warriors, one of Stirling Wolves' 5 players contracted to the FOSROC Scottish Rugby Academy. And goes Singleton again, out to Cunningham. Good interplay between the forwards and backs in midfield.
No. Well done.
Hiddleston and Breeze combining. Here comes Govenlock to make a tackle. Still with Stirling Wolves.
Tackle!
Plodding way down that left flank. And back it comes to Hiddleston. Drives the shoulder into his opposite number, Michael Linus. It's a good collision between the two hookers. Adam Sinclair has to go in and work hard to get that ball back. Breeze again, carries. And now Stirling Wolves going through some phases. Adam Sinclair stepping back inside, takes that ball into contact. And Cunningham, flat ball across the face of Hiddleston to Connor Gordon.
Always your own player.
Centre field, options both ways, but comes across to the right. Cunningham decides to put boot to ball. He gets the ball in behind Dan King there, just rolls into touch. And a good position here for Stirling. It will be Heriot's throw into the line out, but Stirling will look to pressurise.
Smart decision on that occasion from Ewan Cunningham, that Heriots were winning the breakdown every time. It was big aggressive tackles, and Stirling couldn't get any tempo into their attack, couldn't get any front foot ball. As a result, Ewan Cunningham at fly half, he was standing deeper and deeper trying to keep the attack going, and then thought, hang on, let's just play the smart game, put the pressure back on
Heriot, let's go.
Heriot's.
Come
I'm
on.
sure he would have preferred the kick to stay in field, so that Dan King, the Heriot's fullback, would have had to deal with it and maybe kick the ball out to give Stirling the put in. Oh, well done. Up to spoil. Unlucky with a loose ball though.
It really is, yes. Sterling went up, won that one, tapped it back, but couldn't tidy it up, and through came Rory Leishman, Heriot's captain, third try scorer. It's been 16 minutes since we've had a score, 4 tries in the opening 21 minutes. Let's see what Benedict Grant can do while he's lost that ball in contact. So Murdo McAndrew now breaks away, and he's got support in the shape of Fraser Jones. He's just on the Heriot side of halfway as we approach the halfway point. This field kick there, now that could work out. Leishman's got it, being chased by Sinclair. It's 1-on-1. Good tackle there at the back. I think that is Ewan Cunningham back there. It is indeed.
No.
The Stirling Wolves fly half, and he had to make that tackle because the big long legs of Rory Leishman were striding out towards the try line there. Good work. It was you'll see a replay of it here as it comes back, and he went for that cross kick option, and Leishman out there on his own, and you did wonder if he was going to make it to the line here, Colin.
Yeah, great attack from Heriot, just mixing it up. Lovely crossfield kick from Bruce Houston. That's a fantastic tackle from Cunningham, the Stirling fly half. I think Leishman, he's not entirely sure what he's going to do down that left side. I did wonder at one point if he was shaping up for a little grubber kick, but maybe didn't back his pace. But well done Cunningham. He was asked the question by the big Heriot second row, and he chopped him down into touch. Stirling have done well to secure the line out.
Okay, now
He's done equally well to snuff out any threat of a maul going forward.
There's a bit of a David and Goliath clash there. Cunningham coming out on top. Great tackle on the Heriot's rugby captain Leishman. However, it's been an attempted clearance by Stirling Wolves, who's just gone straight up in the air and regathered by Gregor Hiddleston. However, you can hear the explanation from the referee there, which Colin will probably expand on as to why that is a penalty.
Well, ultimately it's because the kick was, well, you're not being punished for a bad kick, but because the players are then within 10 metres, they don't retreat out of that. You see that the ball just goes up in the air. Yeah, so there we go. The players had to retreat away from it.
No, not yet.
Because it's not gone 10 metres further forward. So whilst it's a fantastic take from Hiddleston, the hooker, it's to no avail. It's because he was ultimately in an offside position.
Singleton there, yes, with the attempted box kick. Back to the action here though, because Heriot's have possession. It's at the back there with Linus. He's been, I think, dragged down short. There's Stirling bodies in there. I can see the ball. Pick and go again. McLaren this time. In comes Sinclair, tries to get hands on that, but still with Heriot. Trying to set up a little pod off to the right there, and then pick and go this time by Josh Scott.
Cheers.
Again repelled by the Stirling Wolves defence, but Heriot's very, very close. We're into injury time at the end of the half here. Can they get their bonus point try before the break? Leishman this time, driven back. In goes McAndrew. With a careless pass, but snapped up by Owsley. He could well be away as he dropped that ball. He has indeed. He could see the line in front of him. The referee says time was up. And a great opportunity there, Freddie Owsley. Not for the first time this afternoon. A hint of an opportunity. Unable to get himself across the whitewash. Lost the ball in contact. And the referee, Rory Leishman, blows for half-time. So an entertaining first half. 4 tries all scored within the first 21 minutes. Fraser Jones, Murdo McAndrew and Rory Leishman for the home side, and Gregor Hiddleston with the reply for Stirling Wolves. The half-time score here at Goldenacre, it's Heriot Rugby 19, Stirling Wolves 5.
General play is good,
look
but just
at
have to be careful around the ball.
half-time at the first half action.
Just have to be careful around the ball. We get a few more.
In about 5 or 6 minutes, but we'll take a short breather here. And a break from Goldenacre, enjoy one of our half-time features. Because the Scotland Sevens are in action in LA this weekend, and before leaving, Scotland Sevens captain Jamie Farndale sat down with us to offer some insight into the standout moments of his rugby career. Farndale, who's representing his country at a landmark 50th event on the circuit this weekend, talks through beginning his professional journey with Edinburgh, bouncing back from injuries, his incredible consistency with Scotland Sevens, and featuring for Team GB and Team Scotland. So if you're with us for our earlier match, you will have seen the first part of our interview with Jamie, and here now is the second part.
I realised, probably from playing 15s as well, I think I realised just what sevens meant to me. And as I say, I absolutely love the game. I genuinely think sevens is so much better than 15s for playing, for watching, for being a part of. I'd been in with Edinburgh, but I always knew I wanted to go back to sevens. So I got myself away from that and down and joined up with the GB squad ahead of Tokyo. Because the Olympics had always been something for me that had been a goal. As I said, I'd been to a Commonwealth Games, I'd been to a World Cup. I'd had a bit of success, but the Olympics was always something that had been a goal for me. At the end of most seasons, I'd sort of think, if the Olympics was this year, would I be in the squad? This opportunity came up to go and join the training squad leading up to Tokyo. And unfortunately, I missed out. I wasn't selected, and that was definitely the toughest, probably the toughest thing I've been through in my career. When you have a goal like that you're going for years. Definitely the days and weeks afterwards were certainly really, really tough. But reflecting on it now and looking back, definitely in terms of what I took from it as a person. I think you take these things one of two ways, and when you have such a big goal and you miss it, you either shut down and walk away, or you embrace it. And I'm pretty proud of how I was in around those moments. It was a funny situation, so a couple of guys that were picked weren't quite fit. They were just getting over niggles, so I was actually part of the team that then went for the final tournament before going out to Tokyo. A strange situation was where I've been told I'm not going, but I'm out there on the pitch as part of the team, and ended up playing one of the best tournaments I've played. And that kicked on, and when we got back, GB stayed together and played on the series, and became a really tight-knit squad there. I was part of all those tournaments. Managed, that last game, real high for me was we played Ireland, who we'd played again and again, had some real battles with, and last game was GB, managed to get an extra time winner against them. So just that whole year was really special for me. I think more as a person, because I had obviously this massive low, but also these highs throughout. And this picture here, just the people in that squad that through, I suppose, that emotional roller coaster I became really close to. That really was a special year for me, and I definitely took a lot. That brings me on to the last one, just so proud playing for Scotland anytime. So when we came back from GB and came together as Scotland, that was already special. But then we had, it had been GB, all the other countries had been together. We then split into our home nations, and this squad of guys, half the guys hadn't played sevens before, and we're suddenly coming onto the World Series, being expected to hit the ground running. And some of the performances we put out there right from the beginning, it was like, wow, we've got something special here. And some of the individual stuff that was happening was just amazing, and it's just grown through the year. We've only had 6 tournaments together, and it's just grown and grown, and that we beat South Africa in Toulouse towards the end of the season, who were top of the series, and just being part of that progression from a squad coming in and going through that journey together was pretty special. Being asked to be captain, as well, I remember that moment very clearly when Bitso sat me down and asked me. That's definitely one of the proudest moments of my whole career. And this picture here is just this group of boys that have been through this year together, and we get to go to a Commie Games, one of the biggest stages, and pretty special for me. Being a captain, it's a very easy job because of the people I have around me, but definitely definitely a very proud picture for me in terms of what it means.
Jamie Farndale there, who will be representing Scotland Sevens for the 50th time this weekend in LA. Not quite as many times, I don't think, as my co-commentator Colin Gregor. 56 times, did we think? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Something about that, I think, yes, but that's my numbers. Not going to get any greater. Whereas Jamie's still going strong, and yeah, a fantastic ambassador for Scottish rugby, for Sevens rugby. Does a lot of work now with on the sustainability piece and the importance that sport has in that side of things. And in fact, Scotland playing England, I think it's 6 this evening, so hopefully we can just about get to full time of this and then jump over to the World Rugby website, I think, and see how Scotland get on.
Excellent. So Heriot Rugby 19, Stirling Wolves 5, the half-time score here in the FOSROC Super6 at Goldenacre. Let's take a look now at the first half action, and the first try came after 7 minutes for Fraser Jones.
And almost from nothing. Heriot's had done well building the pressure, but Stirling's defence, you think actually they're in a good position numbering up, but look at that right foot step. And then just he's got the pace, the cover defence for Stirling there. I guess the one criticism, maybe it left a bit of a one-on-one on the outside, as we see here. And that step there's that gap inside. I think it's Hamish Ferguson, the big second row, can't make up the ground to get across to lay a hand on the fast and fancy footwork of Jones and Houston. It's a lovely strike of the conversion, just nice and smooth, good rhythm to it. 7-0.
Yeah, he's a great kicker, Bruce Houston. This was the second try from one of many lineouts inside the Stirling Wolves 22. The forwards did all the hard work, taken by Ian Wilson, and then the break there by Murdo McAndrew, who darted over.
Yeah, again, great work. Finn Gillies, the Heriot's forwards coach, will be delighted with how the maul has gone in and around the Stirling 22 5-metre line. On that occasion, as it's just about to kind of creep towards the touch line, it's great recognition. We see it here from McAndrew wearing number 9 there, just controlling the troops as scrum halves do, and then thinking maybe the forwards are not going to get over. Okay, let's release the ball to the backs, and then it's just getting on that outside break that good scrum halves get on. That just got enough pace off the mark, good power to get over the line.
Bruce Houston adding the extras, and the home side led 14 points to 0 after 12 minutes, but back came Stirling Wolves, gave themselves hope. Gregor Hiddleston at the back of the line out maul here, and they had the power to get themselves over. Hooker with the green scrum cap on dives over the line.
Yeah, I think he's almost surprised when they get to the line, and he's suddenly thinking, all right, I can just drop down onto my haunches onto the ball, ground the ball. But again, it's great work from the Stirling pack that they've been on the receiving end of a couple of line out mauls at the other end. So it's great that when they've got the situation themselves, they're able to then assert that dominance, maintain the control, have the composure, and it's a good score for Hiddleston.
Another look at it from a different angle. A lovely throw taken by Adam Sinclair in the middle of the line out. The maul well set, and you can see it's just creeping across to their left, and Heriots were a little bit initially undermanned on that side, and over they went. And then the last action of the first half came on the 21-minute mark. We thought we were in for a try fest with the fourth try, Heriot's third. This time through Leishman.
Oh, it's the sun still.
No, in fact, we're having a look at the yellow card first. My apologies. I think this was just for too many infringements, Colin.
Yeah, it's just as the line out comes down there, he interferes with the player whilst they're still in the air, and Rory Campbell, the referee, says enough's enough, and Stirling had leaked a few too many penalties. So then we're back at just seeing it again there. You can see the big number 8 reaching through the line out
Ryan,
there,
do we need to wait
but
for
illegally.
And we'll have a look at that Leishman try at full time, because the two sides are back out, keen to get the second half underway. To remind you that Leishman went over from yet another Heriot's line out to take the score to 19 points to 5. The conversion surprisingly missed by Bruce Houston. He doesn't miss many. as we said at the start,
Ready,
signed
guys?
on a partnership deal with Edinburgh Rugby today. So Ewan Cunningham then to get the second half underway. Stirling Wolves kicking from right to left here at Goldenacre, on the north side of the capital. And it's Heriot and Bruce Houston who will just send that one off downfield. Keeps ball in play, and just about every kick today has been fielded by Craig Robertson, apart from the first one which he knocked on. He's been very secure. See a change there, Logan Jarvie, right winger, being replaced by Ross McKnight. The players brought in as emergency cover by Stirling Wolves today. Adam Sinclair in the midfield shifts that along the line for I think the third time today. Too much on the kick there. I think Marcus Holden, the guilty party there, is in the centre of your shot. As you see another change, Andy Stirrett coming on for Alex Tom at outside centre for Stirling Wolves. So rolling the dice early with going to the bench, Ben Cairns.
Yeah, whether they're injury enforced or tactical, maybe find out in due course. Yeah, either way though, just another error for Stirling to start this half. You think that actually there's an opportunity to attack, but they want to build pressure through territory, but just overcook the kick again. Big carry again, Govanlock, he's been pretty dynamic, ball in hand.
First appearance at number 8 this season, Jack Mann normally taking that position for Heriots, but out injured for now, and he really has been very good at the base of the scrum, overshadowing his opposite number Benedict Grant so far today. Now Godsmark with the offload off the deck. Robertson had a think about snapping that one up, realised he was offside. Still with Heriot, it's a loose pass. I'm not sure if that was intended for the forwards or to go through the forwards, but either way, Heriots have lost ground and lost possession as Craig Jardine gets that ball into contact, and Stirling Wolves work their way up towards the 22, and it's certainly not a lost cause for Stirling Wolves. Trail by 14 points. If they can get themselves a try at this early stage of the second half, and it's not quite playing at the level that perhaps they have in recent weeks. Thinking back to that victory up at Bridge Hawk a fortnight ago, 38 points to 17 they won up there. Benedict Grant carries hard into contact.
It's fine then, not.
Here's Singleton out there to Craig Robertson.
Ripped in the tackle.
Stolen in the tackle, and Freddie Owsley then kicks it off downfield. Back goes Cunningham, does well there, and he used replacement Ross McKnight there just as a bit of a shield to stop Owsley getting to him. However,
off red foot.
The ball has gone into touch off red foot, and it will be a Heriots line out inside the Wolves 22.
And Stirling's attack looking promising, making yards, but it's a fantastic rip in the tackle, just stealing the ball away from the Wolves ball carrier, and Owsley just not much space. Backs his pace by just hoofing it downfield, and it's a really solid kick chase from Heriots, getting on the front foot, and whilst Cunningham did really well to gather the ball at first, him and his replacement teammate Ross McKnight, they're outnumbered, and in the end Heriots bundle them into touch. So a really good outcome from Heriots, because it had been a promising attack from
Heriots, come in please,
Stirling to
1 metre.
start.
Thank you.
Michael Linus' throwing has been excellent today. Great combination with Rory Leishman, the captain. Has been the main go-to man in that Heriots line out. Back it comes to Linus at the back of them all. Now they've got some go forward. Murdo McAndrew on hand, but just asks the forwards to keep working, driving forward. Now McAndrew breaks away and finds Owsley coming off his left wing. In goes Ian Wilson with a clear out. And then at pace coming round the corner, Fraser Hasty driving into the heart of that Stirling Wolves defence. Now Joey Britton, not seen so much of him in the 6th jersey today. And Heriots off feet there. I think Ewan McLaren the guilty party. And Stirling Wolves survive, and will have a chance to clear their lines from the penalty inside their 22, and we have a break in play. Looks like one of the Heriots, so in fact no, it's the Stirling Wolves player down in the background.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, looks like it was the Heriots tight head prop Ewan McLaren penalised there for coming in the side of the ruck, which he's shaking his head and tutting strongly disagrees with that decision, but the referee's word is final. Stirling did well defending that Heriot's line-out maul. It's negated or snuffed out any momentum. And good work in the middle of the field. Good chop tackle, bringing the Heriot's attack to ground quickly.
That's fine.
Did wonder if the Stirling player could have been penalised for not rolling away, but Rory Campbell recognises Ewan McLaren as the primary infringer on that occasion for coming in the side of the ruck, and Stirling get a reprieve.
Good. Oh, fine.
The break in play here for some treatment. I see Gregor Hiddleston with a bleeding nose there, and I think it was Connor Gordon who was previously being treated. Looked like he'd done something to his shoulder. And Stirling Wolves co-captain, open side flanker, played for Bay of Plenty and actually turned out for the Canterbury B team, which is a good level, obviously, over in New Zealand, but as a Scottish grandparent, so he is Scottish qualified. There are not many players in any of the Super 6 squads actually who are not Scottish qualified, which is great to see. But he's a real workhorse in the back row for Stirling Wolves.
Yeah, one of those typical New Zealand open sides of just a real hard kind of nuggety player, but decent with ball in hand. They've given an opportunity to throw his weight around, or even though he's not maybe the biggest guy, punch above that weight. Looks like Heriots are going to the bench as well. Joey Britton was making his way off.
It was indeed, and Callum Anderson comes on, makes his first appearance of the season. He's into the back row.
That stage where the classic next score will be important, isn't it? That if Heriots get the next throw, you do think that's probably the chips and Haim, the game will be done. But if Stirling strike next, then it's potentially back to a one-score game. Momentum with the Wolves, inaccuracies like that are not going to help.
Yeah, Hiddleston with the overthrow, snapped up by Heriots, and got a great position just outside the Wolves 22. The defence came up fast, which forced Heriots just to make a break. Dealt with well initially. McAndrew now, a little bit of indecision there in the Heriots attack. All threaded through by Fraser Jones. The first try scorer of the afternoon. That seems a very long time ago. 7 minutes into the game. Kicked long by Stirling Wolves, and under pressure there. Let's see which one of the Stirling Wolves players that was that was coming up. You see what Heriots were trying to do and get the ball quickly through the hands out into the wide space on the right hand side, but too much pressure there on Niall Godsmark and through the pass forward.
It's the classic hospital pass there for Niall Godsmark. Good read from Stirling actually. That Heriots just a bit laboured in the backfield, passing the ball across to this right hand side. It's just the read actually can spot hit Niall Godsmark, just snuff out that attack.
No, it's everywhere.
And Godsmark, he sees it coming, he tries to just flick the ball on. It's one of those, if it goes to hand, the man outside him is in space, but it's the high risk from the Stirling Wolves defender is rewarded with a knock on and a decent attacking position.
They'd have to do it with a different hooker. Hiddleston still bleeding from the nose, so the referee obviously not happy with that. And Rory Campbell. Rory Campbell saying he'll wait as he gets cleaned up. Under 20 hooker, I've spoken about this before, a very versatile player. The summer series across in Italy, feature in the back row as well, open side flanker. You certainly see that when he gets the ball in his hands in open play. His throwing has generally been good, but the last one was an overthrow which handed possession to Heriots. Found themselves a good position just outside the Stirling 22, but they now find themselves the home side defending from a scrum just on their own 10-metre line. So what can Stirling make of this? 6 or 7 minutes into the second half. As Colin said, you feel the next score is huge in this game. Can it be Stirling who strike from the scrum with under pressure, picked up and cleared from the base there by Benedict Grant, who's crashed up in the midfield. Forward just roll round the corner. Hiddleston looked to throw the pass, but didn't look particularly well organised. There was nobody there just to stick his head down and carry himself. Singleton again off to the forwards.
Tackle!
Gordon this time takes it into contact, and then out behind the forwards, and the backs try and tack down that stand side flank. Make some ground just over the 10-metre line. Hiddleston again in it, first receiver, great footwork there from the young hooker. And out into the midfield, and Callum Cruikshank, former Scotland under-16 and under-18 player, the carrier on this occasion, but once again Ewan Cunningham forced to go to the boot, sends it into the Heriots 22. They've just returned that one with interest down the stand side touchline.
Yeah, excellent defensive effort from the home team. The men from Goldenacre giving Stirling absolutely nothing. And just can't get any sort of speed into their attack. The Heriots back row so effective at just killing momentum, just being a nuisance at the breakdown. And in the end, Ewan Cunningham decides they've gone through enough phases without making any territory. I'll try and pin Heriots into the corner. Dan King covers well and puts in a good clearing kick.
The Heriots in control on the scoreboard, but neither side really has control of the game, and I mean it threatened to be a try fest at the start. I see 4 tries in the first 21 minutes, and it's failed to hit the heights in the 30 minutes or so since then. Which side can wrest control from the other in the remaining half hour of this one? George Breeze juggling that one. Keeps a hold of it just on the Heriot side of halfway, and a little drop off pass there to Benedict Grant, who's absolutely clattered by Govenlock in the midfield. Back it comes though, and away goes Craig Robertson. Finds his scrum half, Keir Singleton. Stirling take play up to that Heriots 10-metre line. Back it comes to Gordon, it's a big carry again by the co-captain, and in goes the other captain, Marcus Holden, acting as scrum half. Now the big players getting themselves involved in the game. Benedict Grant now. You can see Holden going looking for work in there at scrum half, and that's what Stirling need to do. Hard running now. Out on that right hand side. A counter ruck here though by Heriots.
Good counter ruck.
Does somehow come back out on the Stirling Wolves side though. And away goes Logan Jarvie.
Off it now, leave it.
Singleton having to wait on this one coming back, and it's a good tackle there by Fraser Hastie. So Wolves being driven back, but still in possession. And through more phases, I think, than they have any other stage of the game. And there is Grant acting as scrum half. Out to Sinclair.
Let's go 9.
Slow ball again. And Austin at the back there, and Singleton, the scrum half, and Cunningham again looking to the boot. Snapped up by Owsley. A little chip over the top there with his left boot, so a chance here for Stirling with perhaps broken field in front of them. However, we'll see the touch judge, assistant referee.
Fine. There we go.
I think that is David Changleng on that side of the pitch.
You think the time is right?
Indeed, I recognise the voice. There he is.
Okay.
You can see one of the Heriots players
It's a penalty only.
lying on the pitch there. I think was probably the recipient. Was it a late hit?
Yeah, I thought initially the referee had said it's fine, play on, but then
for both sides if you want.
The assistant referee said no, it's not fine, so fair enough.
What's that?
Again, Cunningham just mixing up with that chip. Owsley does well to cover across. Was he committed, or was it a late tackle?
Bring him on.
It's marginal, but on that occasion he
1,
has
2,
been
3 and 9
penalised
subs.
for it. So it's again, Stirling, could they just keep
penalty,
ball in hand? Could they just keep going through the phases?
Over here.
Get that they're maybe not making yards, so they think they want to chip to the corner or put the pressure back on Heriots, but it's
okay, water off please, Stirling.
Tough call when you look at it like that. I think it's Callum Cruikshank is at the Stirling blind side. He's followed up the kick really well. He's got himself in a good position, gets nice and low, wraps around Owsley. Owsley has just dinked the ball away moments beforehand.
Tackle in the air. Sorry, late tackle.
Yeah, late tackle is the call. So Heriots have a chance to relieve pressure.
Changes in the front row. Josh Scott makes way for Struan Cessford for Heriots.
Okay.
I'm inclined to agree, Colin. I do wonder if Stirling should have kept ball in
On the
hand
line,
there.
please.
It's not
On the line,
really
yeah,
worked for them.
22.
As you can see why they're trying to maybe
On
mix
line.
it up, throw something different to the defence. It's not
20
particularly
minutes, go.
worked for them, and at this stage of the game where they really need to score.
Yeah, but they don't need to chase it too aggressively. That's the thing, that just build some pressure, and who knows, Heriot's might concede a penalty. We've seen Stirling score their try from a line-out maul 5 metres from the line. So yeah, if you go through the phases, force an error from the defence. Easy to say sitting here.
More changes in the front row. Dan Gamble on for Ewan McLaren. Gamble's been excellent in the last couple of weeks. And something perhaps to the scrum, but here go Heriot's down that right-hand side.
No, it's fine.
Through Fraser Jones, who scored the first try 7 minutes into the match. He's dealt with well.
It's unplayable.
Inside that Stirling Wolves
Ball's an
22,
absolute
ball
mess,
unplayable, the
everyone's
referee
gone off.
said,
They
and
were
a
going
change
forward
now
at the time
at
of the scrum.
half back.
As I'm blowing
Murdo
the whistle,
McAndrew
they're
makes
still
way for
going
Jed
forwards.
Gelderblom, who started the last
It's a good
couple.
contest, and then it just players come in. Scrum.
So it looked like Stirling had won the turnover there
Okay, Mark's
from Fraser Jones, but the ball was then unplayable at the ensuing ruck,
players on the ground,
and
can't let them play after that.
referee saying it was Heriot's that were going forward.
Right,
As
here's the
again,
back.
we see Heriot's looking to get to the width straight off first
Can you front row?
phase.
Had good
See,
standing to
look at the
maintain it,
step
please.
again for inside one, but it's good cover defence from from Stirling. Sorry, rip the ball in the process, and then it's a good old-fashioned melee. And Rory Campbell thinks, "Hang on, not much good is going to come from this. I'll just blow the whistle. We can reset." And the reset is in favour of Heriot's.
I think Craig Robertson, the man coming across and making the tackle on Fraser Jones, because when he gets his feet moving like that, he's very dangerous. Let's see what Heriot's can do from this scrum though.
Edge.
And trying to be inventive, didn't work out for them. Ball has been lost. And away come Stirling Wolves. Singleton looking to find
Advantage over.
Cunningham. He in turn finds a touch down the left-hand side of the pitch. You can see Fraser Jones
Depends on
just in
halfway,
your shot there. The 14 jersey on his back. He initially set up the position
6 and 9
for
Stirling,
Heriot.
sub.
The
6
ball
and 9,
lost
yeah.
from the set piece, and Cunningham you can see there. With the,
You're on the line,
need
guys.
to figure the number 10 on his back.
Here's
Scotland under
Heriot.
20 stand off.
Oh, no, we've got 2 subs.
It's been a good touch just on the Heriot side of
that?
halfway, and a replacement in the front row there. Cammy Fenton has replaced Michael Linus, whose throwing has been excellent this afternoon.
Yeah, he's going 8.
Just hope the replacements bring energy, bring a spark to this
You're on
game.
the line,
There's been
Stirling.
quite a
You
lot
take a
on
step.
both teams now, as we see
Yes.
Jack Hill also coming on for Callum Cruikshank. So yeah, it's actually does the flow or disruption of the replacements disrupt the game? It's like, well, this game's been quite disrupted anyway, so maybe they'll just add tempo, add intensity, add a bit of a spark. We can but hope.
Well, here's Fenton at the back of the Heriot's maul.
That's once.
And Jed Gelderblom, replacement scrum
fine.
half. An untidy pass out there into midfield, but it worked, and Heriots have got themselves ball centre field. Again, options both ways, up to go to the right. That's a carry. That looks to me like Sean Johnson, I think, on the field now, fighting his way forward. Another replacement, Struan Sesford at the back
Definitely a
there.
knock on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that another AR call to the referee, and once again, example, these sides just really struggling to go through phases and get through 1 or 2 ball knocked on, and yet again we have a scrum.
He tried to regather it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Adam Sinclair, the big Stirling second row, was involved there, and initially Rory Campbell, you can see him, the big blonde guy here, getting on ball, ripping it, and that's where Campbell said initially, no, it was ripped, you ripped it, but then he's come to the assistant referee, and he's actually said no, there was a knock on, and so rather than Heriot's maintaining possession, it's gone the way of Stirling. Looks like Cunningham has gone from starting at fly half into finish the game at scrum.
Not for the first time this year. It may well, in fact, have been the reverse fixture up at Bridge Hawk when Heriots won 38 points to 17. I think Cunningham featured much of the game, in fact, at scrum half, so you can certainly play there. And away come Stirling Wolves. It's a good carry up to halfway.
You held up men.
And goes Cunningham. They look to lift the pace perhaps of this game. That's a nice tip on there by Benedict Grant. Needs to quickly arc back towards the breakdown to clear out Adam Sinclair now.
Off now, out.
Good counter ruck once again by Heriot, just making a nuisance of themselves, but still the Wolves in possession. Cunningham again finds Grant, and as I've said a number of times when watching Stirling Wolves, they've got some really key players. They need to get the ball into their hands. Benedict Grant being one of them, Marcus Holden another. Comes up from fullback, tries to involve himself in the game. He's been quiet this afternoon, perhaps just with the shift back to the number 15 jersey. Adam Sinclair now, his first start of the season, has featured in some of these forward exchanges. Hiddleston with the ball out the back, and now,
Cheers advantage.
well, I thought they would look to go wide, but instead it's Craig Robertson who just straightens and
You've got advantage.
playing advantage here. So Stirling can roll the dice. Benedict Grant tries to get the hands free, manages to get the legs free, and he's away. Gets support on the inside, ball off the ground again, and Breeze takes the ball into the Heriot's 22. Good to play here from the visitors. Benedict Grant in at scrum half, finds Hiddleston, who goes through between two Heriot's tacklers, dragged down in the 22, and again the Wolves try and go wide, adding pace on the ball now. Owsley pushed off in the tackle.
Hold still.
In again goes Sinclair to win this one. Back it comes to the forwards. Good position here for Stirling Wolves. They really have to make something of this. Hiddleston lets that one go because it wasn't a great pass. Probably
Just on the 22.
a good decision. The referee was playing an advantage. Well, that's better play by Stirling Wolves.
It's a really good attack, yeah. Going through the phases, just mixing up, bringing some tempo into their play.
17,
Mentioned a lot
17.
Benedict Grant at number 8, but yeah, when he gets into the open or just gets ball on hand, he's effective. But I've enjoyed watching George Breeze as well, the tight head prop. He's got a bit of footwork about him. He's got good balance to his running. Saw him down the left hand side just now. Gregor Hiddleston's been really prominent in that last phase, just getting ball in hand, and just the forwards working well, just a bit of footwork so that they can look at this great dummy offload almost. He just bounces through but then gets the offload away. Look at this from Breeze, the support from the prop, and then the leg drive. Buys valuable time for his support to get there. And poor Grant breathing from every orifice, but he gets into position, and it's great. He recognises actually the scrum half's not in place, so I can just move the ball a couple of passes off that left hand, which is really good to see. I hope that's not Breeze now.
He was offside up there as well.
Going off injured.
I think sadly it is, because he was wearing a blue scrum cap, which he's now got hold of in his left hand. That is a real shame, because I agree he's been excellent.
Okay, water off.
One occasion in the first half when he lost that ball, when he was on the verge of just making an outside break, and other than that he really hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yep. Just wondering what Stirling are doing with their penalty bang in front. They are going to the corner. Yep. You feel, having had success there in the first half, it's where the source of their sole try so far today. A little bit safe with the kick to the corner.
Okay.
One could argue from, I think it was Callum Beckett there. However, it's a good attacking position.
Off there.
I think Hiddleston's maybe made his way off as well, given that
Is he off? Yeah.
the hooker about to throw in is not wearing the fluorescent green scrum cap.
He's not. That's Rodri Tanner, the Welshman, ex-Ayrshire Bulls, former Hartpury College. And finds his man. It says Robbie Dean's there in fact, but I'll check that one for you. It may well be. Back to the action, and again Benedict Grant offering himself up as a carrier, trying to give his side something, and Cunningham half a break there. And the referee playing an advantage, so chance here for Stirling Wolves deep inside Heriot's 22. This has been their best spell of play of the match, and switching inside there from Benedict Grant. Look to the right, turned and threw it to the left.
Fine, but number 4 is a tackle off the ball.
Adam Sinclair going off now for Harris McLeod. He's worked hard, the big block this afternoon.
Yeah.
Stirling just keeping ball in hand, and they've forcing the penalties, the ill discipline that they were guilty of in the first half. It's now Heriots that are creaking, that are giving away penalties, allowing Stirling to build the pressure, inch their way closer towards that try line.
Well, they scored their only try of the match. Gregor Hiddleston was the man who went over, but it was from a line out down that same stand side touch line at the other end of the pitch. 15 minutes
No
into the match.
today.
Yeah, they just want this a little bit more accuracy. Whilst they won the line out the last time they threw it, they weren't able to set up the maul. It was tapped back rather than caught on the hole. That's better. Oh, right.
Lost again, just
Play on. You say play
a
on.
lack of accuracy there, and Stirling Wolves can't afford those errors.
You said it's fine.
A try puts real pressure on the home side. They don't appear to be quite at their best today, but Stirling unable to make anything of these opportunities they're being given. That ball sent downfield, going to be taken by Marcus Holden. Well, he's knocked that one on. The referee playing an advantage. You can hear the cries from the home players, play, 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 and taken into contact there by Fraser Hastie. Bruce Houston, we've not seen so much of him in the last 20 minutes or so, takes that ball into contact.
No advantage, fine, but we go back for the knock-on.
Ball lost though in contact. Referee was playing an advantage, none accruing, and we will go back.
Both of us.
I think the knock-on by the Wolves fullback Marcus Holden.
Yeah, they're the frustrating moments for Stirling, for their fans, for their coaches, for the players. You're inaccurate at the line out when you're camped on the Heriot's line, and then Heriot's clearance kick not under a huge amount of pressure. Marcus Holden can't get a hold, ironically, of the ball. He knocks it on, so it's just error compounds error. It gives Heriot an opportunity to relieve that pressure. So all that good work, all that effort from Stirling building the pressure in the Heriot's 22, it looks like it's going to come to nothing.
Binds.
Some interesting Hawaiian shirts on the sideline there. I don't know if one of the teams in support has got some sort of fancy dress going on.
Just Keane in the background as well with the light blue t-shirt on, not playing today. Away go Heriots down that stand side flank, ball inside to Leishman here, and we know all about his speed. Shrugs off the tackler and goes all the way to the line. The big Heriots rugby captain. Great break. The home side catching Stirling Wolves by surprise down the blind side. And Rory Leishman can't quite believe that he's got his second try of the match.
What a try. Yeah, I think it's Gelderblom, the replacement scrum half, that recognises the opportunity down this short side. We just see it again here. It's a big scrum again from Heriots, isn't it? And it just creeps to that blind side, and he just darts away. But what on earth is Leishman doing as the first man in support? You'd expect the back row or the winger or anyone else to be there, but fantastic work from the Heriot's captain, the big second rower, and then he's got the pace and the strength to shrug off the Stirling defence. Because you see Cunningham there, the Stirling scrum half, thinking I'll go round and defend on the open side. Gelderblom, look at that, no one there, and draw the 2-on-1, and then you think, oh well, someone will catch the second row, but no thank you, and that's a cracking score.
Once he gets those big long legs up to full speed, he takes a bit of stopping, does Rory Leishman. You can see from the different angle there that actually, like you, I did wonder how on earth they'd come out of the second row, but with the changes they've made, I think Sean Johnson's probably now in the second row for Heriot's Rugby, and Leishman was on the blind side flank, and he was very quick to react when his replacement scrum half Gelderblom broke down the short side, and he took the inside pass. He still had work to do. It was a fairly poor attempt at a tackle, rather high round his shoulders. He just shrugged that one off and went over for what is a bonus point try for Heriot's Rugby. And the conversion goes in off the posts by Bruce Houston. And extends the home side's lead out to 26 points to 5. We did say the next score would be crucial. Stirling Wolves had their chances, but it's Heriots who take it, and you do feel with 17 minutes left that is probably the match.
Well, that's exactly it, especially after the last 5-10 minutes where Stirling have had real pressure and they've come away with nothing, and then just like that Heriots strike with a 7-pointer, and yeah, you can't help but feel it's taking the game away from this Wolves team.
No.
Marcus Holden again getting his hands on the ball.
Centre play. We'll go back for knock-on. Yeah.
And the referee just explained to the
off
players what's happening. There's a knock-on by Heriot's. He's been questioned by Ewan Cunningham. Just a little bit closer to the action. Started the day at fly half, and we'll finish it at scrum half.
What's wrong?
Change in the front row on both sides.
15.
Sad to see George Breeze going off, as you said, for Stirling Wolves. They're already struggling with injuries. John McKenna, another prop who's missing today. And 2 props on the emergency cover, Ali Rogers and Robbie Deans on their bench today. Can't afford to lose more front row players. Grant picks that one out of the base. He thought about giving it scrum half, but he's darted away down that left hand side. He's escaped the first tackle, looks inside for support. It's a lovely ball over the top there. Stirling Wolves very, very close. Just need to recycle this one. Out it goes, long pass from Cunningham. Heriot's defence come up fast. Cunningham again looks to send the ball out wide through the hands of Beckett, and there could be space down that right hand touchline. Marcus Holden now.
Play on.
Recycled again. Good footwork there by Rodri Tanner, but he's hit hard in the tackle. Robbie Deans now gets his hands on the ball.
Lost White.
And Cunningham decides to go left, gives it to Beckett. He's tackled there by Kyle Brown. Stirling struggling to get any go forward. The Heriot's defence just forcing them a metre or 2 back each time. Away goes Cunningham though, decides to do the work himself. It wasn't happening through the forwards. So the scrum half has a little dart round the edges. Heriot's not set as they should have been round the breakdown. And Cunningham perhaps does give the visitors some hope. 15 minutes still left on this one. It's Heriot's 26, Stirling Wolves 10.
Yeah, and just thinking that Stirling are going to need a moment of magic just to break down this Heriot's defence, that there's no shortage of effort, but Heriot's looking pretty solid, and then it's great recognition from Cunningham that Cammy Fenton, the first Heriot's defender, he's half a yard wider than he should be, so he sees there's a sniff of a gap there, and as Fenton comes in to make that tackle, he just throws enough of a dummy, gets Fenton's eyes looking the other way, and that's all that the standoff come scrum half requires. Great recognition of where the space is, and got the pace to finish it off.
Playing on, we can play on.
So simple conversion does go over. 14 points the difference, so 2 converted tries would be required for Stirling Wolves to draw level, even with Heriot's. It does give them a glimmer of hope.
Give him a chance.
And a change here for Heriot's. Suspiciously like Michael Linus coming back onto the field. We'll confirm that for you in a second. Kick long into the Wolves 22, and well, Benedict Grant there, the ball in one hand. Not sure who's trying to dummy the kick, but that was only one thing was going to ever happen. When Benedict Grant gets his hands on the ball, he's going one way only. You can see confirmation there, in fact, that Cammy Fenton has had to leave the field of play. Michael Linus thought his day was done, is back on. That ball kicked cross field by the Wolves. Could have worked for them, but neither player on that stand side able to get hands on it and beat everybody into touch. Assistant referee says it will be a throw-in to Heriot's.
Stirling just mixing up their attack, trying something a little bit different.
Let's go, please.
With 12 minutes to go, 14 points behind. This is when they do need to start chasing the game, and Heriot's are the complete opposite, hence you can tell they've just taken all the tempo, all the pace, all the energy out of the game whilst they set this line out.
Fraser Hastie, the target in the middle of the line out. Michael Linus, who's returned to the fray, gets his hands on the ball at the back of the driving maul. Initially make good ground. And away out the back, Bruce Houston finds Owsley, accelerates into the gap, and he's away straight to the line, and there was no stopping Owsley there. He's had 2 chances earlier in the game. Good play there by Heriot's as they went in behind the forwards. A lovely pass from Houston to the Edinburgh winger, and Owsley does eventually get himself across the whitewash, and that really has killed off all hope for Stirling Wolves.
Yeah, and Heriot's in the first half, when their backs were trying the strike plays, they weren't quite sticking, but on this occasion it's good execution, good timing of the runs, the decoy runs from the likes of Niall Godsmark at outside centre, and then Owsley is not short of pace, given half a yard, half a gap after burners on. See him in the background there, he just tracks across, he just keeps his timing well, he's almost hiding Stirling's defence. They're biting in, as it were. They're looking at who the short runners, on this occasion decoy runners, but you can't leave them because they are still options. Heriots could hit the short line if there's a space for them, but on this occasion it's recognition that Owsley's the man in space. The ball is fed to him perfectly and he's got the pace. It's a really well worked team try.
Former athlete Owsley took a 4-year break from rugby and was very successful. And has returned to rugby, but you see when he gets himself into open space, he's certainly very dangerous. So Owsley over for Heriot's 5th try of the afternoon. Bruce Houston hasn't quite been impeccable this afternoon. That's 4 from 5 for the new Edinburgh signing, the Irishman. It's now Heriot's rugby 33, Stirling Wolves 12. The score in the reverse fixture only 2 weeks ago, 38 points to 17. Heriots won that day, so similar margin of victory. There's still 10 minutes left to play in this one. Anything could happen, but it's taken a while. But Heriots showing their dominance now. It's Wolves though in the attack. You feel just playing for pride. They have 2 tries. 2 more tries would at least get them a losing bonus point, or a try scoring bonus point. However, away goes Owsley again. I don't think anybody will get back to him. Stirling Wolves players chasing back, but there is never a chance of getting to Owsley. And he dots down behind the posts for yet another Heriot's try, and 2 in quick succession for the Edinburgh winger.
Owsley in about 3rd gear, I think, there. Just knew that he had enough pace. Yeah, did really well to pluck the intercept, in fairness to him. It's not an easy one coming across him as he turns the body, as we see here. Good yardage up the middle from Stirling, so they think, right, let's get to the width. We're chasing this game. Let's see what we can do. The wide pass here, but he does well. Just jumps off that left leg and almost straight away he's just easing down. He knows he's got enough pace. A little acceleration there just to keep him away from the chasing Stirling defence. But it's a good read. It's a high risk play from Stirling, just taking the pin out the grenade and launching it out there. It's a good grab from Owsley, and it's a pretty straightforward run in for someone of his pace.
Beckett, I think the man in replacement, fly half, who threw that pass. You see what he's trying to do. There were a couple of Stirling Wolves players out there, and perhaps only one defender if he got it past Owsley, but high risk, as you say. It didn't come off for them, and Owsley goes under the post. The easiest of conversions for Bruce Houston. It's now looking ominous for the visitors. 40 points to 12. Still 8 minutes left in this one. Sun shining on the Goldenacre pitch in the late afternoon. Early evening now. And still somehow in Heriot's possession from the kick there. Playing just on their own 10-metre line. Switching play and decide to send the ball along into Wolves territory. And have a go from here. Craig Robertson, not the best to pass, but the passes, but they've got some space and some numbers down that stand side touchline. And away they go up towards halfway. To recycle this one here, the Heriot's defence not looking perfectly organised. If they come out the back, and they do exactly that. But it's all hand a bit away. However, it's a good carry there by Jack Hill.
Leave him 2.
Placement in the back row for Stirling Wolves. The Heriot's defence to slide off. However, there's still enough of a gap for Hill to ghost his way through, and it's Stirling still on the attack now on the Heriot's 10-metre line. Loose pass, and Benedict Grant has to go back to tidy that one up and gets the ball into one hand. Tries to be a little bit too ambitious. Basketball pass out the one hand over the top, thrown forward, and that all comes to naught for the Wolves.
No lack of effort from Stirling, and they're still trying to get through some shapes and play with a bit of width to their game, unlock this Heriot's defence, but yeah, just the errors that have really unstuck them in this in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, just when they think, oh, they're maybe creeping their way back into it, and then it's a couple of big blows from Heriot's just to reassert dominance.
Just blame it on him.
A bit of break in play, so a good chance
Empty
now
sources.
to name our
FOSROC,
FOSROC
please.
Super 6 player of the match, Colin.
Time on.
Yep,
6.5 to go.
the Heriot's captain,
No, the
couple
line
of
up.
scores. I think the 20-30
Line out,
metre run in
step
on
out,
its
you're
own
on the
for
line.
a second row, although he's now in the back row, is deserving enough. But now
On the line, Robbie.
he's led by example. I think the amount of times in that first half in particular that you mentioned, Bruce, the lineouts, and he just dominated them,
Heriot's
which
keeping
got
gap.
Heriot's the start, the lead that they needed. And then
play.
when they needed a score in the second half, he reacted quickest to the break from Gelderblom, so a well-deserved player of the match.
And again, he was the recipient
That's 1 to 9.
in the middle of the line out there. Michael Linus, the man throwing in, and again finds himself at the back of the maul, but ball released to the backs, and another chance here for Fraser Jones. We've seen his footwork 2 or 3 times this
Soft
afternoon,
hands.
scored the first try and tried to
no.
chip ahead there. The Wolves getting a hand to that, goes out into touch, so a line out again
Heriot's
for
ball
the
against
home
mark.
side, just on the our side of the pitch, if you like, opposite the main stand at Goldenacre. And it really is a lovely
Let's go, guys.
evening
to
here
go.
now. And as you said, Heriot's not in any hurry whatsoever.
It's probably a more enjoyable evening if you're in blue and white than it is if you're in red, black and white this evening. Yep, it's been a tough afternoon for Stirling.
Out 15.
Ian Wilson at the back of the line out there. And they just inched their way forward. Jed Gelderblom just weighing up his options, but the forwards tried to decide to keep a hold of this one. Now it goes to deck.
Watford.
Stirling Wolves defence up very quickly there. Seemed to be a little bit offside. Ball out the back there to Jones, popping up on the other wing and finds his wing partner, Freddie Owsley.
Sorry, it was out.
Another little dart there, and away go Heriots, and Gelderblom set up the last try, or the first try of the second half for Leishman. On this occasion, he doesn't need any support whatsoever, darts in himself and touches down for Heriot's 7th try of the day, and has to be said, it's becoming a bit of a rout.
Great recognition from Gelderblom where the space is. Heriot's going to the width, and again Owsley, who's put a late claim in to be player of the match, does well to make the yard, secure the ball, and then Gelderblom just that little step off the right foot. I think it gets through the Jack Hill tackle, and the tired Stirling defence just not quite as quick to get set as they would like to be. And when you've got a scrum half as lively as Gelderblom, he's going to exploit the smallest of chinks in the armour. Just see them there. Jack Hill dives out thinking he's got a sniff at ball, and that's all Gelderblom needs to step off his right foot and then scuttle away and over the try line.
Had some high scoring encounters today. Boroughmuir Bears 40 points to 28 winners over the Southern Knights, so 68 points in total in that game. At 57 so far in this one. Conversion to come again from out wide. And Bruce Houston with the attempt, certainly catches that one nicely, and no surprise to see the flags go up once again.
He's decent off the tee, that lad, isn't he? So yeah, it's another excellent kick.
Cheers.
Just
3 minutes to go.
further woes for Stirling, another couple of points. So 3 minutes to go. A little try for the Wolves would be nice, just to give them something to hold on to cling to, because it's the beginning was sort of the second half. They were edging their way back into it. Well, maybe not quite the beginning. They were edging their way back into it, but this last 10 minutes or so, Heriot's have just been ruthless in exploiting any opportunity to get points on the scoreboard.
Backwards. Play it on.
Yes, you got to feel for Stirling Wolves struggling with injuries and no doubt with confidence at this early stage of the season, and having finished the sprint series probably the best side in the competition, narrowly missing out to Watsonians in the final day, and as recently as June. It just shows how the team's fortunes can change if you pick up a few injuries.
Keep it going, guys.
Players released from Glasgow at that stage, which was certainly helping their cause.
Yeah, they were relying almost on that kind of release from the Warriors, but because it's pre-season for the pro teams for Edinburgh and Glasgow, access to these players is pretty much a no-no, especially for Glasgow with Franco Smith, the new head coach, making sure that he's got as many as possible to drill with his style of play, so that even when they're called upon, they're up to speed and they can give as good an account of themselves as they can.
K9 News. Sit up.
So Jed Gelderblom wanted to get that one away, and the forwards were keeping hold of that. I'd like to have seen them play away there. You're mentioning the Glasgow Warriors players, and even someone that Stirling Wolves would consider one of their own, Logan Trotter, who has been exceptional for them, as because of his involvement with the pro side, is not available to them today.
Last minute.
It's been a real miss for them, because he's been exceptional even in a losing side.
If tell you to use it, let's just get it out.
Another scrum.
Yeah, but I told you to use it, so you won't get
Centre field options either side here for Heriot.
Crutch!
Certainly been inventive.
Bind!
Worked out for them perhaps as well as it has in recent weeks, because it's certainly been entertaining to watch Heriot. Stuart Edwards, no doubt, bringing something new to their attack game.
All 10 people watching.
And that's it. The ambition, the intent that they've looked to play with has been real positive. I think in the first half they were maybe just slightly off with the actual accuracy of some of their plays, some of the strike that the backs wanted to do from set play, and then a couple of times in the second half they have been ruthless and clinical, and see some of the pace that they've got in that back line, that half an opportunity and they can exploit that and get points on the board.
One last chance for Heriot to perhaps go over the 50-point mark. Can Owsley get himself a hat-trick? Offloads it back inside. Making good headway up towards halfway. Kyle Brown. And now the forwards. Goes across the face of two forwards to Strew and Sesford. In come hands from the Wolves, unable to turn that one over, and Gelderblom goes it to his half-back partner Houston. In behind Lioness and out to Owsley, pops up on the right wing now. Keeps the ball alive.
Yeah, just gone forward.
However, that ball has gone forward, and with that, the referee blows for full time. So, as we said, another high-scoring encounter this afternoon. That's the second we have had. And again, it is the Edinburgh side who triumph. Let's see here, FOSROC Super6 player of the match on the centre of your screen there, Rory Leishman, the Heriot rugby captain. An outstanding performance for him. 2 tries, one either side of half-time. Full-time score here at Goldenacre. Heriot Rugby 47, Stirling Wolves 12. So 9 tries in total, 7 for the home side, just the 2 for Stirling Wolves. A chance to look at the afternoon's action just shortly. You see the players just shaking hands as they head off. Certainly was fiercely contested, but Heriot Rugby just had too much for Stirling Wolves, and their second victory over the Bridge Hawk side in the space of a fortnight. As we said at the start, Heriot Rugby's league position, probably not quite an accurate reflection of how they've played. The fact that they've been beaten by Watsonians and Ayrshire Bulls, we may well find that they climb the table now.
And that's it. It's a big one. They get the bonus point win today. It's Boroughmuir next for them, who obviously had a big bonus point win earlier, although kind of eased off in the last sort of 10-15 minutes of that game, and gave Southern Knights a bit of a kind of confidence booster. So yeah, it's a big one next weekend for in terms of the Edinburgh Derby, because if Heriots win that, they're right back into the dogfight with Boroughmuir, and not all that far from Ayr and Watsonians at the top of the log.
So as the players leave the pitch here at Goldenacre, a chance for us then to look over the action from this afternoon. The first try of the day, and spoken already about the footwork of Fraser Jones.
Yeah, and we saw a couple of glimpses of it later in the game. He didn't quite get himself free, but looks like a real live wire winger, one of those, you know, not the biggest in stature, but give him ball in half a yard of space, and he's got footwork and pace to cause real problems for defences. And on this occasion it's Stirling, it's one-on-one, boom, great step inside, and we talked about just that cover defence, just half a yard too slow, and with the pace that Fraser Jones has got, that's all he needs.
And then the second try from the line-out maul, and you can see Murdo McAndrew just hovering at the back there, waiting for his opportunity, and he darted over for his side second try. Yeah,
and Cunningham, the Stirling fly-half, he basically wants to apply line speed, trying to get up on the Heriot's attack, and he just maybe leaves his inside defender, his left winger, Craig Jardine, just too much to do. When you're that close to the line, you really need to get a front-on dominant tackle, and he's just, because McAndrew's got the pace to get on the outside, so it's just that passive side-on tackle which gives McAndrew the momentum.
So 2 conversions for Bruce Houston gave Heriot a 14-0 lead at this stage, but back came Stirling Wolves. Gregor Hiddleston, you can see at the back of the Wolves maul there with the green headgear on. That was a good work from the forwards from the line out, and over went Hiddleston. The conversion missed though by Holden, so Heriot Rugby leading 14 points to 5. You can see the take in the middle of the line out there by big Adam Sinclair, and then the rest of the pack doing the work.
Yeah, across the 2 games this afternoon we've seen several examples of excellent line out maul play, especially close to the opposition line. And when you look at Scotland under Gregor Townsend, the number of tries that Stuart McInally, Fraser Brown, George Turner have scored, that across the game in Scotland, it's obviously an area that there's a lot of work getting done on. There's a lot of opportunity. It is a real chance to strike, to get points when you're in and around the opposition try line. And it's Hiddleston and the Stirling pack who are showing us how to do it on this occasion.
If you're a hooker, you're going to get a lot of tries in the modern game. I was going to say that's the best place that you might want to be, but actually I wouldn't ever fancy being in the front row. But, back came Heriot's, and from a line out of their own, they got the ball moving forward, and as Stirling Wolves tried to drive it into touch, the break there by Captain Leishman, who went over for the first of his 2 tries on the 21-minute mark.
And Stirling probably thinking they've defended that pretty well. I think you touched on that earlier, driving it towards the touchline, but it's good recognition from Leishman that if he stays latched onto that maul, they are just going to fall off the side of the pitch into touch, and he's got the kind of wherewithal to recognise that. He's the one that wins the line out. We see then the rest of the forwards take over. He manages to work hard, get that kind of second involvement, latches onto the ball there, and then just bounces in field. And despite having his ankles grabbed by Connor Gordon, he's got the strength and the reach to get over. And what about this for a score?
Superb. This was 20 minutes into the second half. Away went the scrum half, and fed inside to his captain, Rory Leishman, who just accelerated into the space. So 2 tries for Leishman either side of half-time. I'll say either side of half-time. The first one was on 21-minute mark and the second one on the 61-minute mark, so there was 40 minutes between them. There was a long spell without any, but this was a superb try.
It was, and an important one, because Stirling had been putting a lot of pressure on the Heriot's line in the 5, 6, 7 minutes before that. It was only a mess up at a line out that got Heriot's out of their own 22, and then they got this scrum, and it's just great recognition from Gelderbloom. Actually, they've called something to go open, but no, where's the first available space? There it is, down that narrow side. He's got the pace to make the yards, and then he's got the calmness, the composure to recognise his captain's inside, and a great support line. Rather than thinking I have to score a worldie myself, I'll just link with my captain. 2-on-1, perfectly executed, lovely conversion, using the full width of the H just to dink it in off that outside post. It was a fine kicking display from Houston throughout.
Back came Stirling Wolves, and we felt perhaps gave them a chance there. The Heriot's defence not set properly around the ruck, and Ewan Cunningham, who'd switched in from fly half to scrum half, alert to the space and darted through for his side's second try.
And the passage of play leading up to that was a little glimpse of what Stirling can do. They just didn't get opportunity to do enough of it. We saw big Benedict Grant at number 8. He was a quality operator in that sort of passage, getting good yardage and getting Stirling onto the front foot. But Heriot's on the whole won the breakdown and just slowed down enough of Stirling's possession as the quick conversion, just the drop kick from Callum Beckett, because they thought, hang on, we've got an opportunity to get back into this game. Alas not.
It was snuffed out by 2 quick fire Freddie Owsley tries. Here's the first one, as he was fed the ball from Bruce Houston and just accelerated into the space, and there was no stopping the Edinburgh winger.
Must be lovely just having that level of pace where you can just cruise through a gap and know that if anyone's getting near to you, you can just accelerate enough to get away. Boom, there he goes, and then he's cruising through. Oh, okay, I'll just put on a little bit more just to make sure I get over the line. But the play before that from the rest of the backs was just the accuracy, the lines that they ran just to hold in that Stirling defence. And I'm sure Ben Cairns will look at it from a defensive point of view and think, well, how can we be better there? But actually sometimes just applaud the attack and say they got that right. The running lines, the timing, getting Owsley onto ball in space. And no shock with the conversion going straight between the posts.
The only one he missed today was Leishman's first try, the third one for his side. Here came Stirling Wolves again as they threw that ball out wide, but Freddie Owsley snapped it out of the air, and again acres of space in front of him. He was chased by the Stirling Wolves players, who you've got to applaud for chasing back, but as you said at the time, I think he was probably still in third gear.
Yeah, just looked like he was just cruising, and it's one of those high risk plays. If you look at outside of Owsley, if he doesn't get that 1, 2, 3 Stirling players running down that 15-metre line, so it's a 5 or 7 pointer one way or the other. And maybe when you've got a bit of a deficit, you've got a bit of a lead, you can take that gamble. And he did that, and he did well to pluck the ball. It's not always the easiest to take the intercepts overhead. He did that. Quick acceleration gets him in the open space.
And that was Heriot's 6th try of the day. There's still more to come. Bruce Houston sticking over the extras once again. Jed Gelderbloom had set up Rory Leishman's try with that break down the blind side from the scrum. But he wanted to get in on the action himself. As the ball went wide there to Owsley. And Heriot set up the position over on the stand side of the pitch, and a little half a dummy there by Gelderbloom, and you see his pace as well as he went through the gap and scored his side's final try of the day.
Yeah, and you see in the defensive line from Jack Hill, because actually the ball almost comes out the side of the ruck, so he thinks, oh, I can get onto that. As we see Owsley going down there, it just spits out a little bit, so he takes that step forward. And then what a step off the right foot from Gelderbloom, because Hill's slightly out of position, there's no one inside him. He recognises that. We'll see it from this angle. Good width to the Heriot's attack. Owsley steps back in, stays on his feet long enough to get the support there. And then we just see step off that right foot. Oh, he can't hold on. And good pace to get away from the despairing Stirling defence.
Great try there, and once again the conversion over from Houston from out wide. It's 12 points for the new Edinburgh signing, and a chance to look over all our results from this weekend in round 4 of the FOSROC Super 6 last night down at Millbrae. The Ayrshire Bulls edging that battle of the heavyweights, 24 points to 17, at the losing bonus point for Watsonians with a late try in that one. And then earlier this afternoon in our 2 o'clock kickoff, Boroughmuir Bears 40 points to 28, winners over the Southern Knights. And then in our 4:30 kickoff, Heriot's Rugby 47, Stirling Wolves 12. I'll look now at what that means for the table as we are approaching the halfway stage in the competition. Watsonians Rugby still out in front, but the gap has been narrowed with that loss in Ayrshire last night. So they're out in front on 16. The Ayrshire Bulls and the Boroughmuir Bears tied on 14 with 3 wins apiece. And then Heriots have narrowed the gap there with that win this afternoon, so they've kept themselves in contention. And then down at the bottom, the Southern Knights on 5, and sadly Stirling Wolves yet to get themselves a point. I've no doubt they will. They will come good, struggling with injuries at this stage. And I think we can take in the player of the match presentation. We can indeed. Again, just one last quick word on Rory Leishman's performance this afternoon.
Yeah, I think first and foremost from a captain, you want them to lead by example. From a second row, you want them to dominate line out, and he certainly did that. I think he then moved to the back row to show a bit of versatility, and that second try he scored was just quality, showing the pace.
So that draws to a close our coverage for this weekend, but we will be back next weekend in round 5. The late sun was going off the Goldenacre pitch here. It really was a lovely afternoon on the north side of the capital. Fantastic view of Edinburgh Castle in the background there. Some fantastic grounds in Super 6. We're treated to some wonderful backdrops each week with our coverage. Let's bring you next week's fixtures very shortly. You've only got 6 days to wait till your next fix of Super 6 rugby, as we'll be back on Friday night.
It's shaping up well, isn't it? The fact that Watsonians, you think, are they stretching away, but no, Ayr beat them, bring them right back into it. Tough one for yep. So it's just all well set for another round of exciting fixtures.
Yes, an Edinburgh derby to kick us off on Friday night. A 7:45 kick-off. Boroughmuir Bears against Heriot Rugby at Megatland, and then we are down at the Greenyards for the Southern Knights against the Ayrshire Bulls, and then Watsonians Rugby will look to get themselves back to winning ways. That will be a 5 o'clock kick-off next week up against Stirling Wolves. So another tough shift, it would appear, for Stirling Wolves. It's probably not the game that they would have chosen for their next one.
Doesn't get any easier, does it? Oh dear.
Well, I'll say that is our coverage for this weekend. Thank you very much to Colin, Gregor. Some fantastic insights this afternoon, having to do the double shift. We'll no doubt see you again. All that remains is to say thank you from everyone here at Scottish Rugby and QTV for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.